left-wing Kingz. Listen, think, act, repeat.
Part of Kamala Harris's Opportunity for Black Men proposes offering 1 million fully forgivable loans of up to $20,000 for Black business owners and aspiring entrepreneurs. This initiative aims to provide the financial support needed to start and grow businesses. Ace, how will this initiative help Black men build wealth, create economic independence, and foster community development?
We know the history of this country when it comes to getting loans. You can see the movies like The Banker or whatever, where Black people just by a big margin. I don't know that word. I can say it, but I can't spell it. But we've been able to get loans, business loans, to start up businesses. So with that being said, that's why we have a big economic gap from other races. Like, we were discriminated against on that. Okay, so this actually is going to give us access to more resources and things that we didn't have. You're trying to open a bakery, now you go out and buy that equipment that you need.
Yep.
You can get a loan for it. And those practices are still made. We're still scrutinized to this day. If you're probably Black and your credit's kind of in the middle, they're more likely not going to have your credit's got to be real good for them to probably jump on and do something for you, compared to where other races, even people that are not here, we've seen that. It's so many other races that came in on the backs of the civil rights movement and are able to get loans and start up businesses and become entrepreneurs, and just make us their customers. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the biggest things right there for it.
Yep.
Yeah. You got that. You have there's a number of different things in the economic plan that I think are really great. When you talk about, like he said, the loans, some of the things she's talking about doing with the federal government. There's a lot of positions in the federal government where you don't really need a degree to do the job. And she's saying it's unfair because people who are minorities might not have the same opportunities to get a college degree. So she's going to make it so if you have the qualifications, if you were qualified, then you can apply for these jobs.
Right.
And this is to help, like I said, to help try to get some minorities' foot in the door. And a lot of these things that they're changing, this is where the craziest thing about it is this. Black people, we need to realize, or white people, you need to realize this too. If you are not in a good financial position, these things that are helping Black people are probably going to help you too.
Yep.
And Black men, Black women, we have to realize you can't just say, oh, I'm doing a great job, everything's great. You need to look at the actual policies.
Yep.
Okay. When you're looking at somebody who's offering to help first-time home buyers, okay, that's if it doesn't help you, it's going to help your children. These are things. Yeah, these are things that are going to help our community as a whole. And it's going to help poorer people as a whole, regardless of the color.
Yep.
Okay. Again, encouraging small businesses. We all know how the percentage rate of small businesses that fail. When you're starting with that is going to help, again, minorities a lot. So that's my thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're aiming at the identity politics that the Republicans are claiming that Kamala Harris is doing. Like, she's just coming in 17 days out, and now she's trying to aim this toward Black men. You know what I'm saying? End of the day, end of the story, whatever she's doing is going to qualify everybody. She's just pointing out the fact that Black men are going to be able to take advantage of it. Yeah. She's trying to erase some of the things that's been historically in our way as entrepreneurs here in this country. You know what I'm saying? Just plain and simple. So that's definitely where you're aiming at that. So everybody's going to pretty much benefit off of it. First thing she says is, I'm a president for the people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To compare to her opponent distinctively is saying, I'm not going to be, he's actually making determinations that he ain't the president for everybody. Really, he's the president for rich people.
Yeah, exactly.
With you. And that's kind of how he's pointing it out. So
yeah. So I want to touch on a few points, man. What you just said about identity politics is so true, because at the end of the day, like you said, it seems like a ploy. Like, hey, you got 17 days to the election, and now you're doing this thing for Black people to try to get the Black male vote. at the end of the day, it's going to be hard as hell to pass something in Congress that's just for black people.
Oh yeah.
That shit ain't going to fly. So even though she's calling it out as a way to help black people, because it will help black people, okay? It'll help everyone. I'm pretty sure that when they propose the legislation for this, it's going to be for anyone.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That fits certain criteria, but not based on race or ethnicity or any of that. So keep in mind, to your point, it's going to be able to help everyone. And that brings about to your point. It's for everybody. And even if, let's say, I, as a black person, like you said, start a bakery. I got to start a bakery. Guess what? Where am I going to get the equipment from? It's probably going to help another business out there that sells bakery equipment. Might be a black person that owns it. It might be a white person that owns it. But now some of that loan money that I'm getting is going into other businesses to help my business start off. So it's not only me that is helping. It's helping the whole, industry of whatever I'm starting a business in.
Absolutely.
As well as community development. I think it's very important that when you go to a lot of black neighborhoods out there, there's no grocery store.
Oh yeah.
There's no you got a corner store out there where people are going and getting their groceries. That's why when you go into a corner store, you just got to stop and get some gas, you see beans and soup and shit like that, eggs. Because people is buying their groceries from these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Right? But you can develop your community as you start to put more businesses out into your community that other larger businesses, grocery stores, other things come into those communities because they see that community can be grown, right? It can be developed. Now, I don't want to, have the gentrification part of it. I don't like that. But if black people are able to develop their own communities with black businesses, back in the day in Tulsa, and we don't have to go through the crazy shit that they
We
went
got to
through.
get all our shit burnt down.
You know what I'm saying? If we
Yeah.
could do that, it's a beautiful thing. So being able to put this initiative into place to help build wealth within our communities, it's not only for black people. Might be called that right now, but I'm pretty sure she ain't gonna be able to pass that legislation if she just puts in there this is for blacks only.
Okay, well, I mean, we've been in this country. Black people been in this country as long as anybody else. We're not immigrants. We've been here. So why is there such a big gap to us being able to open up businesses and having ownership on shit? You know what I'm saying? Let's take, for instance, HEB. We were here before HEB. Pretty sure there was a black guy out there that had a grocery store and was trying to open it up and run it. Why did HEB outgrow that guy over the hundred years or whatever? Why'd that happen? Well, that's because there was an advantage.
Yeah.
A white person at a point could go get loans and they can go get things.
That's what I was
and
just
they
gonna
can
say.
do that.
Exactly.
But black people couldn't do that. So
Exactly.
our grandfathers and our grandfathers' fathers and all them didn't have the advantage. Now, you can't start off a race and you 100 miles ahead of me and think things are even now. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. So you have to come out and address things and say, what are we going to do to make things better for black people? Because we've been struggling too long at this. And so it's funny when you hear people, they get antsy. Oh, she's just talking about black people. Well, there's a reason why.
Yeah.
Especially in this situation. This is definitely a reason why that happens.
And when you talk about economic development and everything, Martin Luther King was talking about this in the 60s. And really, nobody has done what they said that they were going to do about this, okay? And part of the problem is this. We as black people, we need to start circulating money in our own community.
Yeah.
Because right now our money is leaving our community, okay? If you have more businesses, more black people starting businesses, and these businesses are in black community, that money will circle into the black community. That means that black people will have better schools because they'll have more tax money going into their own communities, okay? That means kids will have better education. Okay, if you have better education, you have less crime. So all of these things improve the community as a whole.
Well, black people have been set up to be the dependent state.
Absolutely.
That means we've been set up to where, okay, well, and it's funny because they have an old film from the 50s on how do you sell to black people, pretty much. And it was pretty much set up to making sure that we stayed in the point where we're always a consumer. You know what I'm saying?
The black man loves to look flashy.
Yeah. You saw that video? So basically, we set up to be consumers, after the Civil War and all that stuff. And Reconstruction, we started doing all that. They made a campaign, definitely in the South, to make sure we didn't have any economic power. But they can utilize the numbers. We can go open up a grocery store in the black neighborhood, and we can make that money. Why should they do that? So we were never able to build a community. When we did, they burned them down. We had successful communities. So that's why I say when people look in and understand when people are talking about things from a black perspective, hey, We landed here 1619. The country didn't start up until 1776.
Yeah.
We've been here. And then since then, we haven't been able to get anything done. And not because we didn't have people out there to do it like people like to believe. It's because we're economically, there was an economic campaign to make sure that we weren't able to do that as a race.
Yeah, and even when we did have some type of success, oftentimes it was sabotaged. Black Wall Street, Rosewood, things like that. Towns were burned down, neighborhoods were burned down, businesses were closed if they got too successful.
You've seen the movie. Anytime you hear Sam Cooke's change gonna come in the black movie, that means something horrible happened. You seen the movie, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know what's there, and it ain't lying. It ain't a reason why every time you see a black movie, there's a tragedy part in it. There's a part where we're successful and then some white person comes and destroys it. That's not because we just making it up. We hate white people. That's because that's the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hate to say it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Most of the movies that we make have some type of tragedy in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That happens like that due to racism. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just what it is. Kamala pointing out that program, and you know what? It may be a little identity politics. Yeah, and unfortunately we have to do that because you got people that are backing a guy or voting a guy that has no aspirations, don't give a shit about you. That's the best way for me to say about Trump. He don't care about the black man, never have. And just because he donated to the HBCUs, don't mean that he does. You know what I'm saying?
But he donated at a much lower rate than the president before him or the president after him. The
Dude.
thing about it is he marketed himself better.
Dude,
that's the only difference.
Anybody that put Herschel Walker in front of us as a viable candidate, don't give two shits about us as black people.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, it's horrible that we have to talk about it like that. But Kamala addressing that is a breath of fresh air.
Yes, it is.
That she's trying to at least do things to try to help us improve the community and get some economic power. I live in a neighborhood that's historically a black neighborhood. It's been there. And we have some small businesses there, but we don't have anything that's, like you said, it's going to be vibrant. Like you said, a grocery store chain that's owned by black people, a bank that's owned by black people. You know what I'm saying? Things that set up a community and make that community thrive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, it's really important that we build on the wealth. And I'm glad that Kamala is looking into this. At the same time, we need to make sure that, I mean, if we got money, don't matter if we ain't healthy. We can't live long lives and, pass that money on to our, other generations. But that brings me to opportunity number 2, which is her health equity program.